Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Always a good day when my longtime friend is in the studio, and that'd be Deacon Jim Vargas. He's the president and CEO of Father Joe's Villages. How you doing, Jim?
Perfect. I'm blessed, Drew, and even more blessed being here today.
Well, you're always too kind. You brought a colleague of yours in, Mary Jo Scarpitti. She's the clinic director for Father Joe's Villages. How you doing, Mary Jo?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. I'll start with you, Mary Jo. How long have you been with Father Joe's?
About 6.5 years.
6.5 years. So what do you do as a clinic director?
I oversee the clinic administratively, and then the street health team by way of the manager of street health, and then also the soon-to-come detox.
Okay, good. We're going to talk about that as well. And Jim, for those zero listeners who have not heard you before, okay, maybe you can give the quick mission of Father Joe's Villages.
Well, the quick mission is that we prevent homelessness one life at a time, and we do that through our very comprehensive programs. Now, Mary Jo, as she mentioned, she's the clinic director, and that's for the federally qualified health clinic that we have. And it has primary care, but it also has behavioral care, and that's very, very important. So there's been a substance use challenge or disorder clinic that we've had there within the center for a number of years, and that's an outpatient. We also have psychiatric care, and then we have a dental clinic as well. We have a street health. Mary Jo mentioned the street health that we basically established in 2019. Right now, it's 5 days a week. We have 3 vans that go out, and we have psychiatric clinicians who are involved in that as well. We're going to talk about detox. So that's the health center, just in a nutshell there. There's a lot that goes into that. And of course, health is a very important element for anyone, whether you're unhoused or not. And then we have our therapeutic childcare center. Those kids who come to us, they're academically, emotionally, socially delayed. They're 4 times more apt to be homeless as adults, Drew, unless we mitigate their circumstances. So the work that goes on there is incredible. The kids are resilient. You apply the right resources, the right compassion and love, and they bounce right back, which is great. And then we have our education employment center. Employment is extremely important because with employment comes income.
That's right.
So we have our vocational training so people can gain marketable skills and then go forth. Shelters, things as basic as shelters, the almost 1,000 shelter beds that we have on a nightly basis, the almost 1 million meals that we serve, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 365 days a year. That's extremely important. Obviously, it's a basic need. The showers that we provide for those who are on the streets, almost 30,000 showers thus far this year. So there's a lot that goes into that. And then, as I always say, housing is what breaks the cycle of homelessness. And you know, Drew, we have through our Turning the Key initiative, we made a commitment to basically introduce 2,000 affordable housing units into the market. And we've done that through the refurbishment of motels and also the new construction as well. The most recent that we opened a couple of years ago, 14 stories, 407 homes. It's taken over 500 people either off the streets or kept them from falling onto the streets. The largest endeavor of its kind ever in the history of San Diego. And we have 5 more. I don't know if I've told you, we have 5 more in the pipeline, 2 in Oceanside and 3 more in the city of San Diego. So
at the same size?
No, not the same size.
Okay.
That was quite large. This probably will remain our signature building for a long time. These others, one will be about 175 units, and then the others are about 100 units each. And about 50% of them have PSH, which means that the people who reside therein have some level of some challenges like disabilities and physical disabilities, as well as maybe substance use challenges, psychiatric challenges. So we support those who have been pretty much chronically on the street through that PSH program. Excuse me. So that's kind of a nutshell and a whirlwind of Father Joe's Villages as well.
Yeah. Well, you guys, I mean, there's nothing you don't touch in that aspect of it, and changing lives is certainly something that's so critical to you and to Mary Jo as well. So I have to ask this question, as we do all the time, and it's interesting because there's a point in time, number that people in January, they count as best they can, right, on this area. We know it's not 100% accurate, to say the least, in this aspect. Numbers going up, going down,
The numbers have gone up.
Right.
I mean, we have the fourth largest homeless population here in the county of San Diego. The most recent number, it's 10,605, and that's gone up from the prior year.
It has.
And very disturbingly, I have to say, is that in prior years, about 50% of that number has been unsheltered. This year, 60% of that number has been unsheltered. What does that tell us? That tells us that the economy is really having an impact on individuals, and they're falling onto the streets. So there are more people who are unsheltered, and the economy, the economics, is really what has thrown people onto the streets. There's a number that's tracked on a monthly basis, actually, and for the last 2 years, consistently every single month, more people are falling into homelessness than are being helped into housing.
Yeah.
Again, more are falling onto the streets than are being helped into housing. That's a very disturbing statistic. We have to work at keeping people within their homes. We have to prevent them falling onto the streets, because once they fall onto the streets, it becomes very costly.
Right. Are we pretty much like other major urban areas? You're number 4 in the country, as you mentioned. But are they facing the same things, even whoever number 8 is? Is it more people that are going into homelessness that are staying home housed, or are we different?
Some are facing the same. For instance, Los Angeles holds the second spot,
right?
And they're experiencing the same thing. One of my colleagues up there mentioned that last year they had placed into homes 20,000 individuals. Think about that: 20,000 individuals during the same time period. 25,000 have fallen onto the streets.
Yeah. Of those, okay, so, and that's a different, that's not part of that 20,000. It's different then, right? The 20,000 they're housed, and then 25,000 different people.
Different people.
Right. Wow. And how many of those do we track, the 20,000 that are housed, how many of them fall back out, or do they stay housed?
Well, I'm sure that's tracked up there. I know it's tracked up here, down here, as best we can.
Yeah.
And I can say, as an example, I don't know the community's number, but I can say that with those individuals who we help into housing, 95 to 96% retain their housing long-term because of the comprehensive services. It's not just a matter of putting them within 4 walls. It's continuing to help them according to their needs, basically, health-wise and otherwise, in order to help them prosper and retain their homes. Right.
And now with this little election that we have coming up next month, that mayor election and city council and homelessness is on everybody's mind, is it not?
Absolutely. And federally as well. It's across the board. It's really the overall number in the United States has grown tremendously as well. And more families. The thing is that here in this area, at least, more families are falling onto the streets. It's heartbreaking to see the children.
And seniors.
And seniors as well.
That's one of the fastest growing aspects of it. We are chatting with Deacon Jim Vargas. He's the president and CEO of Father Joe's Villages, joined by his clinic director, Mary Jo Scarpitti. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades, just doing great things for people in San Diego County. So, Mary Jo, talk about some of the stuff that you folks do, in the clinic.
So we serve anyone experiencing homelessness or at risk for homelessness, regardless of insurance status. So we're able to provide primary care, dental services, behavioral health services, substance use disorder counseling, primary care. We have nurse triage available, so nurses that are able to provide education, wound care, help to get same-day appointments on. We also have an on-site lab, so we're able to draw labs, hopefully same day. A lot of our folks are lost to follow-up, so we want to try to have them reach as many services as possible when they are on site. We also have outreach and enrollment, so they're able to help clients get connected to insurance. And then, as Deacon talked about a little bit, our street health team that kind of brings all of those services into the community to meet clients where they're at.
Right. So how many of those are served? We know the ones that are actually housed at your places and all that, you can see and all that. But the street team, how many people do they see on a daily basis?
They see On a daily basis, probably about, they're going out into the community.
Correct.
They're doing, it depends on the type of service. So in a primary care capacity,
Yeah.
they may see 8 patients a day.
Gotcha.
But then they're also doing harm reduction outreach. So they're going out and they're giving out safe use kits. They're
Right.
giving out naloxone.
Right.
So on those days that they're reaching a whole lot more folks. They also go to care events. So there's kind of different styles. There's the street medicine where they're doing that backpack medicine. They're going into the canyons. They're going off road. They're finding individuals that need help. And then there's more that urgent care style where they're going to high volume areas and reaching a lot more individuals that way.
Right. Does the street team, do they encourage people that they see in a canyon or under a bridge or whatever to come in and get housing if there is housing available at your place?
Yes, they definitely work with what the patient's goals are.
Right.
A lot of it is
Right.
building trust and building rapport, meeting them where they're at. Some people aren't ready yet.
That's right.
We're asking them to leave their community and the things that they've built that is safe to them, and trying not to put our idea of success on someone else. But the goal is ultimately to guide them towards stability and housing.
Right. There's no question. And one way of doing that is provide those services with them to keep them, alive. And, Jim, you and I have talked about this, quite a bit in this, and I thought you did a great job. And you sent it to me and probably to zillions of others. When Newsom came down with his state law, then you got on and did a nice little video. And I thought you were spot on. I think I even sent you an email and said, I thought you did a great job on it. But when you say, hey, it's easy to sit there and say no camps, get rid of all these tents and all that business, where do the people go?
That's exactly right. Where are they going? Because the reality is we don't have enough shelter beds. And by the way, I don't think the camps are good for the individuals who reside therein.
Right.
I think it's unhealthy. Right. It's the source of infections and so forth and diseases, and so it's not healthy for them. It's not what we want for them, right? And yet we have to meet them where they are and recognize that not everyone can come off the streets right away. Why? Because maybe they're victims of domestic violence. Maybe they suffer from PTSD. Maybe they're claustrophobic. There's a whole host of issues that are at play. So as Mary Jo says, it's getting to know them, getting to know their needs, and that's what the outreach team does on a daily basis. And again, these encampments are not good for the communities either the businesses or the residents. Right. That said, for one to say, well, no more encampments, but then not having enough alternatives. How's that productive?
Yeah,
how does that help the individuals who are impacted by being unhoused? How does that help the community truly?
Yeah, well, you can't say this without having some plan A, B, C, D, through Z in this aspect of it. So, it's easy just to make that comment, not have a plan to fall back on this. Talk about recovery and detox and how critical that is.
It's extremely critical. We know we have individuals who are cycling in and out of our beds on a daily basis, and yet we're not getting to the fundamental problem, and that's the substance use challenges that they have.
Right.
We don't have enough beds in this county. In the entire county, may surprise you, Drew, there are 78 detox beds, right? These are Calian detox beds, 2 of which are in the city of San Diego. So we'll be adding 44 to that complement. That's a 57% increase on the 78 number. Still nowhere near enough, but most definitely very needed. And these are 44 beds that will be targeting the population that we serve. A population, by the way, where we find that about 40% of them, remember we said more than 10,000 on the streets.
That's right.
Let's round it to 10,000, right? 40%, just about, that's 4,000 individuals have some level of substance use challenges. So think about it, right?
Yeah.
So these beds are going to be absolutely critical. And Mary Jo, who loves to talk about the detox because this is going to fall within their realm, and everyone's as excited as could be. Talk about those 44 beds.
Yeah, please, the detox aspect.
Yes, we're so excited. A little bit about my experience. I'm a registered nurse, also a substance use disorder counselor, and I'm in recovery myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen this from so many different angles, and working with clients and meeting them and having that moment of willingness and they want help and not having the resources to get them has been so hard on all of us. speak for myself, and it just breaks your heart. We're all here because we want to help and we want to make a difference. Right. And then to just find roadblocks has been really challenging. And that moment of willingness may be gone, So we're so excited to have that at our disposal, and then also to have the wraparound services that we will, being adjacent to the health center. It's not just kind of getting clean or getting sober. There's a lot that goes into sustaining that. So we hope to build kind of a wraparound services in order to support people on their recovery journey.
Right. So is it a resource issue? I mean, you're adding 44, correct? What would it cost you to add 88? Is it money? Is it space? Is it staff? Is it all of the above?
It's all of the above, exactly. And by the way, this is what differentiates these 44 beds from the outpatient clinic that we've had thus far when it deals with substances, because we've worked with substances, medication-assisted treatment, and the like for years and years. These 44 beds they're basically inpatient beds, and it's a 14-day intensive detoxification program, right? And as Mary Jo mentioned, it doesn't just end there, right? Then there is recovery. So the good thing is that it's contiguous with 248 beds that we will have available for recovery and sober living. So the individuals, it doesn't end there for them. Then they go into recovery for a period of time, and that's when we apply the comprehensive services that Mary Jo referenced, like employment, case management, and linking to housing as well. So, but as far as you're right, why not 88?
Yeah.
Okay, one is space itself. I mean, right now we were able to have space, and we repurposed. Actually, we're in the process of remodeling the community. I would love the community to help us with that. We are raising $1.5 million, by the way, in order to be able to remodel a couple of floors in order to accommodate the 44 detox beds and the 248 that are sober living and recovery beds as well. And this will all be philanthropically funded going forward, right? So it's not government funded.
Right.
And but the community realizes the importance of this, and they're stepping up. And I really do appreciate that. Your listeners, I'm sure, are helping also. And that's very, very important, that partnership that we have with the community. But it's a financial resource aspect. It's a space location. We love, as this unfolds, I'm hoping maybe we can make additional space available somehow, all right? Or find space elsewhere. Also have other providers step up and say, hey, we need to do the same. And that would be a good thing.
Right, exactly. We're chatting with Deacon Jim Vargas of Father Joe's Villages. He's the president and CEO. How long have you been there now, Jim? Someone was asking me this. You've known Jim for a long time. I say, I can't remember how long he's been there.
I'm 3 months shy of 10 years.
Can't believe it. I can't. I remember I read this in January in the Union Tribune. It said we have a new CEO at Father Joe's Villages, and it's Deacon Jim Vargas. And I said, I only know one Deacon Jim Vargas. I sent you a text immediately. I go, Jim, is that you? And you said yes. And I said, you're going to come on the show. And I think you came on the show instantly.
Right. That was now. Yeah. Drew has a good memory, by the way. So he remembers it was in January. It wasn't this January. It was January of 2015.
I remember it.
But and you remember it was back then.
I remember it vividly. Well, you've done a great job, to say the least. And I know you got a lot more to go. And then chatting with Mary Jo Scarpitti, Clinic Director. When we come back from break, I want to talk more about this aspect of it, with the detox that you're dealing with and this and really just get to, it's beds. We need beds, okay? We need to have places that are people can stay and say, is it a resource issue? And are people not stepping up that need to step up? I don't mind shouting out, not necessarily individuals on this, but putting a call to that. This is an issue that is everybody's mind right now, to say the least. No more than yours as well. We return chatting with our friends from Father Joe's Villages on Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things from food insecurity to homeless to literacy and everything in between. We'll be right back after this break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. Now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in the community. Joined by Deacon Jim Vargas, President and CEO of Father Joe's Villages, joined by his clinic director, Mary Jo Scarpitti. So, Mary Jo, you RN, so obviously it's near and dear to your heart to help people, to say the least. Detox is something that is very important to you, and you have a personal story, behind it in this area. Jim, I think you and I talked about this before. I'll ask Mary Jo, you can't help but not talk about fentanyl and what it has done. What impact has that had on the folks that you deal with?
It's had a tremendous impact. We are losing people left and right. It has really changed the game out there. People, even people that aren't opiate users are dying of fentanyl overdoses. Fentanyl is in everything. It's in marijuana.
Right.
So, it's killing people.
Right. How does one, obviously working with, certainly law enforcement, and Jim, you jump in this as well, and working with other social services agencies, how do you stop this runaway train with fentanyl? How do you do that?
I think a big part is the partnerships. We really, we have one radius that we can reach, but it's
Right.
all of us coming together. This is rampant everywhere. And so I think really leveraging those partnerships and continuing to build them.
Yeah, Jim, do you think it's because, a good answer, do you think it's because it hasn't affected in many people, so that's just not on their wavelength, even though it affects the group that you work with,
Drew, I think you would be surprised by the amount of individuals who this has impacted. And I don't mean just on the unhoused side.
Right.
There's so many individuals who have lost their children.
Right.
Because the kids have been smoking marijuana, as an example.
Right.
And marijuana is being laced with fentanyl. And you don't need much lacing in order to kill someone.
Right.
And the dealers are doing it to enhance the high. Right. And so, but they're killing the customer base in the process. Not that that's their intention.
Right.
But these are not scientists that are mixing this. Right. And
Right.
so it's really the federal government especially there needs to be a lot of intervention. As far as the borders are concerned, we need to stop this at the borders. It's an extremely difficult thing to do because we know drugs have been around forever.
Right.
And it's just that it's not only these drugs now, but it's now also these fentanyl. Xylazine is another, by the way. Right. And so, and fentanyl, while fentanyl can be reversed by Narcan and naloxone, right? Because, we use that very much.
I know you do.
And we dispense it. Xylazine cannot. Right, so it cannot be reversed by Narcan, and so and xylazine is something that if you have an open wound, then it really impacts the wound, and you can wind up with an amputation, and as well as part and parcel with this. So it's very bad, and to put it in perspective, just here locally in the last year, there've been over more than 600 deaths on the street. In 2019, by the way, not too long ago, the number of deaths on the street was less than 100. So it's been exponential, right, in a 5-year period. But even more so, of the 2019, 409 of the over 600, 419 have been because of overdoses, primarily due to fentanyl. So think about that.
Yeah. So how did you guys, you're very good at locking down stuff at your place and making sure none of that is coming in near, your area. You really can't control what's outside your area, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct. And we know, I mean, we will have our sober living that Mary Jo just referenced and I referenced in the last segment.
Yeah.
And yet we know that some individuals are not ready for sobriety. And we don't leave them on the streets either because we want to help them as well. And so while we recognize there are programs that we have that also accept those who we recognize are on substances. They can't use substances while on premises,
right?
But we recognize that they are on substances. And at least we're providing meals for them. We're providing some level of shelter, and then building the relationships because we want to get them to that point of sobriety as well. Because we know that that's what I mean. Think about it. I mean, how much of a life are you having when you're looking for your next fix, and that's the focus of you. I mean, I've never had an addiction, but I can only imagine, and how much more of a life you can have when you're free of that, and if you've lost your children, when you regained your children. I mean, we have someone, Mary Jo and I know her well, and I'm so proud of her, and that's Amber, right? Mm-hmm. Amber, who lost her 2 little girls, right? And she almost lost her own life, and her husband had suffered through cancer and then passed away. She was left with the children. She wound up with a substance use disorder, and as a result, she lost her children. And she overdosed at one point. In fact, she was doing drugs with her aunt. Both of them overdosed. When they brought her back using Narcan, she's lying next to her aunt, who wasn't so lucky. She had died in the whole process, right? So finally, she came across our doorstep, and she's so strong. She was able to basically make use of a lot of our comprehensive programs. She now is sober. And she's not only sober, she's regained her 2 little girls.
Wow.
She went through our program. She's now a property manager. She has her place, and she's prospering, right? And she speaks so eloquently about her experiences, and it's so meaningful. But again, applying the right resources and really helping people, meeting them where they are, and they're not always at sobriety day one, right? And some people, unfortunately, come into a program and they fall out of the program multiple times, right? So you have to keep at it.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Mary Jo, this is the part of the program where we ask our guests what our listeners can do to support your efforts. Is it donations? Is it volunteering? Is it product? Is it everything in between?
Yeah, all of the above. Volunteering will be great when we open the detox. People that may want to come and share their story. Hospitals and institutions is something through NA and AA where people come out to people that can't get out to a meeting and bring it into them. Definitely donations. Like Deacon Jim said, we are raising funds currently to fund this detox. Anything else you think, Deacon?
Yeah, Jim, what else?
Well, we have our thrift stores.
Yes.
So people, that's a win-win all around if you think about it.
I know them well.
If you, and I know you've donated. You've donated to us, and we have trucks that go out on a daily basis and preset appointments. They pick up household goods, they pick up furniture and so forth. If you're thinking of downsizing, we take all that in. We either sell them at our thrift stores. We have 4 thrift stores throughout the city of San Diego. Great merchandise at wonderful prices, and so it helps the community. They come in and they purchase, and also. It helps those who are able to and would like to donate. It's just a great partnership there. And all the proceeds go to the services, the various services of Father Joe's Villages. So that's just another way, many, many ways in which to get involved.
What's the website?
Neighbor.org. So neighbor is the word, neighbor.org, or you can call 800 homeless, basically.
Right. The story you just told of that person that is, come out of it is now sober. She's running one of your businesses. What's she doing now?
No, she's doing property management.
Property management.
Right.
Would she be interested in coming on the show?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she would. I mean, she's an eloquent speaker, and she loves to tell us stories. Mary Jo knows that, in fact.
Let's get her on. Because to me, these are the results of the hard work that you folks do, one at a time, And so next time we're on, would you like to bring her on?
I'd love that.
Okay, consider that a done deal. Yeah. Jim, always great to see you.
My friend, good to see you.
Best of luck to you and your wonderful family, your family at Father Joe's Villages as well. And Mary Jo, what a pleasure meeting you. And I know we'll probably have you back on somewhere down the road. Thank you for your great work with this great organization.
Thank you so much.
You bet. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you'll be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, just doing wonderful things in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.